The blue holographic displays in the Galactic Council chamber flickered as members from 27 alien species shifted nervously in their seats. The large circular room, with its high dome ceiling showing the stars of the Milky Way, had never felt so tense. Ambassador Zixlar of the Viridian Collective stood at the center platform. His green skin reflected the dim lighting as his 4 eyes scanned the room. "Fellow council members," he began, his voice translator making his clicks and chirps understandable to all present. "I have called this emergency session because of a deeply troubling development. Earth has gone silent." Whispers erupted across the chamber. For over a century since humans joined the interstellar community, Earth had been one of the most active members of the Council. The humans were always talking, trading, sharing, and sometimes arguing. They never stopped communicating. Until now. "How long has it been?" asked a blue-skinned Artosian named Counselor Thinek, who had always viewed humans with suspicion. "3 standard cycles," replied Zixlar. "No diplomatic transmissions, no trade negotiations, no cultural broadcasts, not even a single distress signal." The room grew quiet as the implications sank in. "The last message we received," continued Zixlar, bringing up a recording, mentioned experiments with a new type of quantum communication technology. A hologram showed a human scientist named Dr. Eric Wells excitedly explaining a breakthrough that could change how the galaxy communicated. Then the message ended abruptly. "That was the last we heard from them," said Zixlar. In a corner of the chamber sat Greg Miller, the only human representative currently off-world. As the station commander of the Alpha Centauri colony, he had traveled to the Council for a routine report. Now he found himself the center of attention. "Commander Miller," called out Thinek, "have your colonies also lost contact with Earth?" Greg stood up slowly, his face showing the weight of the situation. At 6 feet tall with broad shoulders, he towered over many of the alien representatives. "Yes, Counselor. Alpha Centauri has been trying to reach Earth for the past 2 weeks without success. We initially thought it was just a communications problem, but now," his voice trailed off. "Now you fear something worse has happened," finished Zixlar. "The shield is still up," Greg added. "Earth's planetary defense shield is fully active, but no one is responding to hails on any frequency." This news caused another wave of concerned murmurs. Earth's shield was considered one of the most powerful defensive technologies in the known galaxy. If it was active, but no one was answering, something was very wrong. "We must consider all possibilities," said a tall, thin alien named Delegate Vos. "Perhaps they faced some internal disaster. A plague. Political upheaval." Thinek's 4 arms crossed over his chest. "Or perhaps they are planning something. The humans have always been unpredictable." Greg tensed at the accusation, but he couldn't entirely dismiss it. Humans had surprised the galactic community many times before. "Whatever has happened," said Zixlar firmly, "we need to find out. I propose we send an investigation team to the Sol system immediately." The vote was quick and unanimous. Even those species that had conflicted with humans in the past agreed that Earth's silence was troubling. Too much of the galactic economy and security depended on human participation. As the meeting ended, Greg approached Zixlar privately. "I want to be on that mission," he said. The Viridian ambassador looked at him with all 4 eyes. "Are you not concerned about what we might find, Commander Miller?" Greg's jaw tightened. "That's exactly why I need to go. Those are my people." Zixlar placed a 3-fingered hand on Greg's shoulder. "Then prepare yourself, human, because in all my 300 cycles, I have learned one truth about your species. When humans go quiet, the rest of us should be very, very afraid." The investigation ship Galactic Envoy traveled through hyperspace toward the Sol system. Inside, Greg Miller sat in his quarters looking at old photos of Earth on his datapad. Counselor Thinek entered without knocking, his blue skin glowing slightly in the dim light. "Humans have always ignored proper protocols," he said, watching Greg. "Like knocking before entering someone's quarters." Thinek made a sound that might have been a laugh. I came to understand why the Council fears your silence so much. You've never been a quiet species. Greg put down his datapad. Maybe you should sit, Counselor. It's a long story. The Artosian folded his 4 limbs awkwardly into the human design chair. When humans first joined the galactic community, Greg began, nobody took us seriously. They called Earth a death world because of our high gravity, extreme weather, and dangerous animals. Fennec nodded. Most species evolved on much gentler planets. Greg brought up a hologram showing the first contact between humans and aliens 103 years ago. We were just happy not to be alone in the universe, he said. But everything changed during the Krell incursion. The hologram shifted to show massive warships attacking a peaceful planet. The Krell, insect-like aliens with advanced weapons, had conquered 3 worlds before reaching Earth. Nobody expected us to survive, Greg said quietly. Everyone thought Earth would fall in days like the others. But it didn't, Fennec said. No, it didn't. The hologram showed Earth's defense fleet, much smaller than the Krell Armada. But the human ships moved in unexpected ways, using the gravity of planets and moons to gain speed and surprise their enemies. Admiral Donna Harris. Greg pointed to a woman with short gray hair on the command ship. She knew we couldn't match the Krell's firepower, so she used tactics they'd never seen before. The hologram played the famous battle where human ships split into smaller units, attacking from multiple directions, then disappearing into asteroid fields where the larger Krell ships couldn't follow. After we pushed them back, the Krell never attacked anyone again, Greg said. And the galaxy started looking at humans differently. Fennec shifted uncomfortably. My people have always been cautious about yours. You mean scared, Greg said bluntly. With reason, Fennec replied. Your planet has higher gravity, so you're physically stronger than most species. Your world has extreme environments, so you adapt quickly. And you evolved as predators, always looking for advantages. Greg didn't deny it. Instead, he showed more holograms. Scientist Alan Franklin revealing his faster-than-light drive that revolutionized space travel. Diplomat Susan Rodriguez negotiating peace between species that had fought for centuries. The human colony ships that helped rebuild worlds destroyed by natural disasters. Yes, we can fight, Greg admitted. But we also create, explore, and help. That's why Earth's silence is so strange. We never shut up. We're always talking, trading, or arguing with someone. The ship's announcement system interrupted them. Approaching Sol system. All investigation team members report to the bridge. As they stood to leave, Fennec asked one last question. What do you think happened to your world, human? Greg's face darkened. I don't know. But Earth has nearly 9 billion people. For all of them to go quiet at once. He didn't finish the sentence. You fear the worst, Fennec observed. No, Greg said as they walked toward the bridge. I fear something worse than the worst. Because whatever made Earth silent must be powerful enough to scare 9 billion humans. And humans don't scare easily. The ship exited hyperspace, and through the view screen, they saw the distant yellow star that humans called the Sun. Somewhere in that system was Earth, silent, shielded, and holding its secrets. The galactic envoy slowed as it entered the outer edges of the Sol system. Commander Krell of the Taurian Defense Force stood at the ship's control center. His gray, rocky skin reflected the light from the screens around him. Scan for any signs of battle or debris, he ordered. Greg Miller stood beside him, his eyes fixed on the view screens. The ship passed Neptune, then Uranus. The blue gas giants looked peaceful, their moons undisturbed. Commander, there's no sign of attack, reported the sensor officer, a slender alien with 6 fingers on each hand. The defensive stations around the outer planets are intact, but empty. Empty. Krell turned to Greg. Is that normal? Greg shook his head. No. Those stations should have at least 50 crew members each. As they approached Jupiter, the tension grew. The massive gas giant's many moons housed mining operations and research stations. All appeared undamaged, but showed no signs of activity. Try all communication frequencies, Greg suggested. Even old radio waves. Maybe their quantum systems failed, and they went back to basics. Fennec, who had joined them on the bridge, looked doubtful. An entire planetary civilization doesn't just lose the ability to communicate. They sent messages on every known frequency. Silence answered. Mars came into view, the red planet where millions of humans had built cities under massive domes. Unlike Earth, Mars had no planetary shield. "I'm detecting life signs on Mars," the sensor officer reported with surprise. "The colonies are still active." "Open a channel," Greg said quickly. Hope flashed across his face. The main screen flickered, and a woman with dark hair appeared. "This is Acting Governor Pottle of Mars Colony. Identify yourselves." Greg stepped forward. "Governor, this is Commander Miller from Alpha Centauri. We've lost contact with Earth. Do you know what's happened?" Relief washed over Governor Patel's face. "Commander Miller, thank goodness. We thought we were the only ones left. Earth went silent 3 weeks ago. The shield activated, and all communication stopped. We've sent ships to investigate, but none can penetrate the shield. Our satellites in Earth orbit can only see the shield, nothing of the surface." "Have there been any messages?" Krell asked. "Any explanation?" "Nothing official," Governor Patel said. But there was unusual activity before the silence. The quantum research centers were operating at full capacity. Energy usage spiked across the planet. Then, nothing. Greg and Krell exchanged worried looks. "Governor, we'll continue to Earth. We have Council override codes that might work on the shield," Greg said. After ending the transmission, the ship continued toward the blue planet at the heart of the mystery. Earth came into view, wrapped in a shimmering energy field that covered the entire planet like a second atmosphere. "The shield is at full power," the sensor officer reported. "We can't scan through it." "Use the override codes," Krell ordered. Greg entered the special codes given by the Council, designed for emergencies when a member world needed help but couldn't ask for it. Nothing happened. "The codes aren't working," Greg said, his voice tight with worry. "Earth has changed the security protocols." "That's impossible," Fennec said. "Those codes are hardwired into all planetary defense systems. They can't be changed without Council approval. Unless—" Greg's face paled. "Unless Earth didn't want to be reached, even by allies." Krell ordered the ship to orbit the planet, searching for any weak spots in the shield. "Commander," called the science officer, "I'm detecting something near Jupiter's moon Europa. An energy signature we've never seen before." On the screen, a faint blue glow pulsed near Europa's icy surface. "It looks like a wormhole signature," the science officer said with disbelief, "but different from any wormhole technology we know." "The quantum experiments," Greg whispered. "What were they doing down there?" Krell made a decision. "Set course for Europa. We need to examine that signature." As the ship turned away from Earth, Greg took one last look at his shielded homeworld. Whatever happened to 9 billion humans, the answer was beginning to seem more complex and more frightening than anyone had imagined. The discovery near Europa changed everything. The Galactic Council activated the Fallen Civilization Protocol, a plan created for when a member species might face extinction. 3 days after the initial investigation, a new ship arrived in the Sol system. Larger and better equipped, the Star Seeker carried specialists chosen for their expertise. On the bridge, Dr. Lyra Kane adjusted her Mars colony uniform. As a human xenobiologist, she understood both human and alien biology. Beside her stood engineer Paul Grayson, an expert on Earth's defense systems. "This shield shouldn't be possible," Paul said, examining the readings of Earth's protective barrier. "It's using more power than Earth's generators could produce." Security Chief Rita Nobles, a former Earth Defense Force commander, joined them. Her serious face showed the weight of their mission. "The Council has given us permission to try breaking through," she said. "We need to know if anyone is still alive down there." Counselor Thinek, who had insisted on joining this mission, looked uncomfortable. "If we're wrong about this, we could start a war with humanity." "If we're right," Rita countered, "there might not be a humanity left to fight." Commander Krell entered with Greg Miller. "We've examined the energy signature near Europa," Krell reported. "It appears to be an inactive wormhole, or at least something similar." "The quantum research," Greg said. "Earth scientists were working on instant transportation, but this signature is massive, big enough to move an entire population." Dr. Kane finished his thought. The idea hung in the air. Could billions of humans have gone somewhere, voluntarily or by force? "Let's focus on getting through that shield," Rita said, bringing them back to their immediate task. Across the galaxy, the news of Earth's silence spread quickly. Some alien species began preparing their fleets, fearing that humans might have developed a new weapon. Others offered help, sending ships with supplies. Markets crashed as Earth's trading goods became unavailable. The team worked for hours, trying override codes and looking for weaknesses in the shield. Finally, Engineer Paul noticed something. "There's a pattern to the energy flow," he said. "It's stronger in some areas, weaker in others. If we time it right, we might get through near the North American continent." They prepared a small shuttle. Rita, Lyra, Paul, and Thinek would go to the surface while Greg and Krell remained on the ship. "If we don't return in 6 hours, leave and report to the Council," Rita told them. The shuttle approached Earth carefully. As Paul predicted, a small section of the shield weakened for just 3.2 seconds, enough for their skilled pilot to slip through. They entered Earth's atmosphere over what had once been the United States. The cities below looked intact. No signs of war or disaster. Forests and fields appeared normal. But as they flew lower, they noticed something strange. "There are no people," Lyra said, scanning the buildings and streets. "Animals are present. Plants are growing. But no humans." They landed near a research center in Colorado, where the quantum experiments had taken place. The doors opened automatically when Rita scanned her old security badge. Inside, the lights worked. Computers ran. The air system functioned perfectly, but no people sat at the desks or walked the hallways. "It's like everyone just left," Paul whispered. Thinek looked deeply troubled. "In all recorded galactic history, no species has ever vanished without a trace like this. No war, no plague, no signs of evacuation." They reached a secure door marked Quantum Communication Laboratory. Rita placed her hand on the scanner. "Access granted." "Welcome, Commander Nobles," said a pleasant computer voice. The door slid open. What they found inside would change their understanding of humanity forever. The Quantum Communication Laboratory was larger inside than it appeared from the outside. Machines hummed, lights blinked, and massive screens displayed complex equations. In the center of the room stood a ring-shaped platform about 30 feet across. "What is that?" Thinek asked, pointing to the ring. Paul walked around it slowly. "It looks like a transportation platform, but much more advanced than anything I've seen before." Rita went to the main computer station and pressed her hand against the scanner. "Computer, show me the last project logs." The screen lit up with a video. A man with glasses and a woman with curly red hair appeared. "Log date, March 15, said the man. "I'm Dr. Jack Peters, and this is Dr. Olivia Wright. Our quantum entanglement tests have succeeded beyond all expectations." Dr. Wright continued, "We originally designed this system for instant communication across any distance, but we discovered something incredible. The signals weren't just traveling through space, but between realities." The team watched, stunned, as the scientists explained how they had received messages from another dimension, a parallel reality where beings similar to humans existed. "They've been watching us for years," Dr. Peters said, his voice excited. They say they need our help. Their reality is under attack from creatures they call void entities, beings that consume entire worlds. Lyra gasped. They're saying beings from another dimension contacted Earth. The log continued. Dr. Wright explained how their visitors had chosen humans specifically because of their adaptability and fighting spirit. Every species has strengths, she said, but humans have something special. We never give up, and we can thrive in almost any environment. These qualities make us uniquely suited to help them fight this war. The final log entry showed Dr. Peters looking serious. The United Nations has voted. The decision was nearly unanimous. Earth will answer their call for help. Everyone is going. All 9 billion of us. We'll leave our planet protected until we return, if we return. This may be humanity's greatest challenge, but it's also our purpose. We were made for this. The video ended. The room fell silent. They went willingly, Rita whispered. The entire human race chose to go fight someone else's war. Thanek looked shocked. No species would abandon their homeworld like this. It's unthinkable. Not for humans, Lyra said. Throughout our history, we've always been willing to help others in trouble, even at great risk to ourselves. Paul examined the ring platform. This must be how they did it. They found a way to transport not just messages, but physical matter between dimensions. Rita checked more files. According to this, they activated the planetary shield before they left. Earth is preserved exactly as it was, waiting for humanity's return. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed throughout the facility. What's happening? Thanek asked, his 4 hands reaching for his weapon. Paul rushed to a monitor. The shield is strengthening. Automated defense systems are activating across the planet. It's detecting our presence, Rita realized. The planet thinks we're intruders. The floor began to vibrate. Machines powered up around them. We need to leave now. Lyra shouted over the noise. They ran for the exit, racing through empty hallways as security doors began closing automatically behind them. They barely reached their shuttle and took off as defense turrets emerged from hidden bunkers. The shuttle shot upward toward the weak point in the shield. For a terrifying moment, it seemed the gap had closed. Then they broke through, returning to space. Starseeker, this is Nobles. Rita called over the comm. Prepare for immediate departure from Earth orbit. The planet's defenses are fully activating. As they flew away from the blue planet, they watched Earth's shield grow stronger, shimmering like a soap bubble around the entire world. They left, Thanek said, still trying to understand. Not because of disaster or fear. They left to help strangers from another reality. Lyra nodded. That's humanity for you. It's what we do. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos as Rita Nobles finished presenting their findings. Representatives from 27 species talked over each other, some disbelieving, others frightened. Silence. Ambassador Zixlar's voice cut through the noise. The room quieted. Are we to believe, Zixlar continued, that 9 billion humans simply left to fight in a war in another dimension? Rita nodded firmly. The evidence is clear. They made contact with beings from another reality and chose to help them. This is absurd, a tall, stick-like alien said. No species would abandon their homeworld for strangers. Greg Miller stepped forward. You don't understand humans, then. Throughout our history, we've always responded to calls for help. Counselor Thanek, who had seen the evidence firsthand, spoke up. As unbelievable as it sounds, I must confirm their report. Earth stands empty but preserved, as if humanity expects to return someday. The council debated for hours. Some believed the story. Others suspected a trick. Perhaps humans had developed some powerful new weapon and wanted the galaxy to think they had left. Perhaps this is the prelude to an invasion, suggested a reptilian delegate. Humans have always been aggressive. No, Lyra argued. If humans wanted to conquer the galaxy, we would have done it directly. We don't use tricks when we fight." While the debate continued, Engineer Paul Grayson worked quietly in a corner of the chamber, examining data they had managed to download from Earth's computers. "I found something," he announced suddenly. There were encrypted messages in Earth's final transmissions. I've decoded them. All eyes turned to the central hologram as Paul displayed the messages. They showed fragments of communication between Earth scientists and the beings from the other dimension. The beings appeared almost human, but with subtle differences: slightly larger eyes, paler skin, 6 fingers instead of 5. They described a war against shadow-like creatures that could consume entire planets. "We have watched your species," said one being. "Your adaptability is unique in your universe, just as it is in ours. Our two realities have always been connected, though separated by a dimensional barrier. We believe you were meant to find us." The council watched in stunned silence as the message continued. The beings explained how humans' natural ability to adapt to almost any environment made them ideal allies against an enemy that constantly changed its form and tactics. "But why would they take everyone?" asked a council member. "Surely they only needed warriors." The answer came in the final message from the human side: "We go together or not at all. Our strength has always been in our unity and diversity. Scientists, teachers, artists, farmers, each person brings something valuable. This isn't just a military mission. It's a migration to help build a better future for both our realities." As the messages ended, the chamber fell silent. Greg stepped forward again. "Now you understand. Humanity hasn't perished or abandoned you. We've expanded our mission to protect life, not just in this galaxy, but beyond it." The debate was interrupted when alarms sounded throughout the council station. The security chief rushed in. "Multiple quantum breaches detected near major council worlds," he reported urgently. Energy signatures matched the one found near Jupiter. On the main screen, small tears in spacetime appeared near 5 different planets. They pulsed with the same blue energy they had observed near Europa. "They're opening portals," Paul said, his voice a mix of fear and awe. "But why? Are they coming back? Or is something else coming through?" Before anyone could respond, a transmission came through the largest breach. A message that would answer their questions but raise many more. The face that appeared on screen was human, wearing what looked like battle armor. Behind him, strange landscapes and unfamiliar skies stretched into the distance. "This is Captain Frank Winters of Earth Defense Force," the man said. "We need to talk." Captain Frank Winters looked tired. His face was scratched, and his armor showed signs of recent battle. Despite this, he stood straight and spoke clearly. "Representatives of the Galactic Council," he began, "I don't have much time. These portals are difficult to maintain, even with our new technology." The council chamber was completely silent. Greg Miller stepped closer to the screen. "Captain, what happened? Where did everyone go?" Greg asked. Frank's expression softened slightly. "Commander Miller, good to see a familiar face." He took a deep breath. The short version: "We're fighting a war unlike anything humanity has ever faced before. These beings, they call themselves the Lumina, reached out to us because their reality is under attack by creatures that consume entire worlds." The captain touched a control on his wrist, and the view widened to show the landscape behind him. Strange plants with blue leaves swayed in the breeze. In the sky, 2 suns shone, one yellow, one pale green. "This is Lumina Prime," Frank explained. "The first world we came to defend. These creatures, the void entities, can't be fought with normal weapons. They feed on energy and matter from any source, but they can be stopped by beings with adaptable minds and bodies. Like humans," Ambassador Zixler said quietly. "Exactly." Frank nodded. "We're uniquely suited for this fight. Our minds can adjust to new threats quickly, and our bodies can adapt to survive in conditions that would kill most species." Images flashed on screen. Humans fighting alongside tall, pale beings against shadows that seemed to swallow light itself. The humans wore special suits that glowed with blue energy. "We've lost people," Frank continued, his voice tight with emotion. "But we've saved 3 worlds already." The Lumina had been fighting alone for centuries before they found us. "Why contact us now?" Counselor Finnick asked. "2 reasons," Frank replied. "First, to let you know that humanity hasn't abandoned the galaxy. We're still your allies. Second, we have intelligence that these void entities might find a way into our original dimension, your reality." The council members murmured in alarm. "We don't think it will happen soon," Frank reassured them. "But we need to prepare. These quantum communicators will allow limited contact between our realities." Small devices appeared through each portal, floating gently down to land near the council representatives. "Each major world should keep one," Frank instructed. "If you detect unusual energy signatures or shadow-like anomalies, contact us immediately." A loud noise came from behind the captain. He turned briefly, then faced the council again. "I have to go. We're about to defend another settlement." He paused, then added, "Tell everyone in the galaxy, Earth didn't fall. We answered a call for help, just as we would for any of you. Keep our home safe until we return." As the transmission ended, the portals began to shrink. Before they closed completely, small packages floated through, data drives containing information about the void entities and how to detect them. In the following days, the Council established a monitoring station near Earth. Some brave individuals from various species volunteered to join humanity in their interdimensional war. Defense preparations began across the galaxy. 1 month later, a small message came through the quantum communicator. 2 more worlds saved. Fight continues. Earth stands with the galaxy, even from beyond the veil between worlds. Captain Frank Winters. Ambassador Zixlar addressed the council after receiving this message. "When Earth went silent, we feared the worst," he said. "We thought humanity had fallen or abandoned us. Now we understand the truth. Their silence wasn't an ending. It was the beginning of something greater." Greg Miller, now appointed as humanity's official representative to the council, nodded in agreement. "That's always been our way," he said. "When someone calls for help, we answer, even if it takes us beyond the stars we know, into realities we never imagined." Earth remained silent, its cities empty, its shield glowing. But now the galaxy understood. Humanity hadn't disappeared. They had simply expanded their mission to protect life, wherever it existed, in this universe or beyond.